This
we
conference
finished,
will now be recorded.
we finished discussing about the business partner, and today we'll discuss about a new concept which is called as credit management. So when it comes to the S4 HANA sales, credit management is one of the major delta change what happened in the SD module. One moment, please. Yeah. So credit management is one of the major delta change what happened in this SD module when it comes to the S4 HANA. And sorry, one moment, just give me one moment. Okay, sorry, let's go ahead. Yeah. So credit management is one of the major delta change which happens when it comes to the SD module. And why this happened, why SAP has come up with this new credit management in S4 HANA? Why can't it continue the same what we have in the ECC, that is SD, FI, and integration between the FI, SD, AR? But now SAP has come up with something equivalent functionality you could see, that is SAP S4 HANA, SAP Credit Management, which is an integration between the FSCM module, Financial Supply Chain Management. So earlier it was SD plus FI integration, but now the same equivalent functionality we are using under the FSCM. But why this happened? That is, so in the ECC, we have credit management, and that credit management in the ECC is at the organizational level, that is at the org level. And whatever the credit decisions we make, that is all at the organization level. That means fixing the credit limits of the customers, blocking, unblocking of the transactions. So this all we used to do it at the organization level. We have a credit department, and every business have their own credit policies, and basing on that, we block and unblock the transaction, setting up credit limits and everything. For example, every new customer is a high risk customer. Okay, we input it as every new customer is a high risk customer because we don't have any previous records of that customer. So by default, any new customer will become a high risk customer. So whatever the credit decisions and everything happens is only at the organizational level. But let's say pretty simple. If you wanna get some bank loan, if you wanna take some loan from the bank, and even though you submit every document like pay stubs and uh, like bank statements, financial documents, everything. Is that enough for the bank to process your loans, or do they need any additional information? Is the documents what we submit, is that enough for the bank to process the loan? No, right? Bank looks for certain thing, something more called as credit report, right? So whatever the documents we submit, that is not enough for the bank. Doesn't matter whatever the document you give, but still bank depends upon something called as credit report or credit history. And from where this data, credit history comes? The credit history comes from the external source of, that's an external source of information that comes from various departments, maybe Equifax or it could be civil, They are external agencies which will be summarizing and providing the customers credit reports. So even though the bank has every document of you, but still they depend upon the credit report. That tells your financial health, like what is your repayment, how much you are capable of, and everything, right? So in the ECC, whatever the credit management we have, that credit management is only at the organizational level, right? But if you want to get some external financial information, we don't have an option here in the ECC. But in the 2005 itself, SAP has come up with a module called as FSCM, Financial Supply Chain Management. In this financial supply chain management, there are various areas what SAP has addresses. Okay. Out of that, there are total 6 areas, something like that, which this FSCM addresses in the financials. Out of that, credit management is also one area. And this credit management under FSCM has a option to integrate with the external systems for the credit reports and other data. So the standalone credit management is available in the ECC, that is SDFI integration. But if you want advanced credit management and integration with various agencies, then you have that option in the FSCM. But today, now everything is a single system, right? It is S4 HANA system sitting on HANA database. So your ERP is coming onto the same system, and FSCM is also available on the same system. So when everything is on the single system, why again two credit managements, right? And when we already have some advanced credit management, then again why this standalone credit management? So what SAP has done is SAP has made this credit management absolute, which we are using in the SD module. And now SAP tells use credit management under the FSCM. See, FSCM is a license. FSCM is a separate license. If it is in the ECC landscape, that is a separate server, and there are lots of functions, connections, right? But now what SAP tells you to do is, if you want to use credit management, you should use it only under the FSCM, okay? And what are the credit management, the ECC function? Because see, why would I go for a licensed version when there is no requirement for me? The basic credit management, whatever is available in the ECC, let's say if that is enough for the business and the business don't need any licensed version, that advanced functionality, let's say if the business don't need it, then obviously why would we go for that? So in the FSCM, we have two options. One is a full-blown functionality under the license, and the other option is FSCM SD integration and FSCM AR integration, account receivable integration, that is FI integration. So now, if you don't want to go with that particular licensed version, full-blown functionality of credit management, then we can go with the FSCM integration with SD, which provides that standard functionality which we used to get in the ECC. What are the standard functionality we have in the ECC? The same functionality we get here, but that is under the FSCM, right? So this is what happened, and this is why SAP has come up with something called as new credit management, which is SAP. As I told you, what are the concepts which we are discussing in S4 HANA, and we say it a delta change, that may not be something new altogether in S4 HANA. These functionalities are either existing in some other system in ECC landscape. But now, as everything is coming onto a single platform, SAP is making them available to everyone or wherever it should be, just like the credit management. This functionality, what we call advanced functionality or licensed full-blown functionality, this is available since 2005 in FSCM. There is nothing new, right? But today, as everything is coming onto a single system, SAP is telling us to use from the FSCM system. So what is the implications on the business? Because of this change, what are the implications on the business? That is, as I mentioned, we need to use credit management only under the FSCM, so that you need to migrate your credit management from your ECC to S4 HANA system. But in the landscape, you will not have two systems like this. Okay, it will be only one system. So we need to migrate our credit management from the ECC. So what all we need to take care when you are seeing migration, that is config data, master data, credit exposure data, and credit decision data. So these all things we need to take care whenever we are migrating S4 credit management from ECC to S4 HANA. We'll discuss the migration very detailed. As I mentioned, we'll have a separate session of migration. In that, we'll discuss in detail how the migration of credit management happens. But now let us discuss standalone how credit management works. So what's the implications on the business because of this change? That is, there are various transactions which has become absolute. There is no FD32. That's a major transaction, right? That there is no FD32. But FD32 has been replaced with a transaction called as UKM underscore BP. Why BP? Because yesterday also we have discussed that majority or in fact all the new dimensional modules will be using business partner, right? Even FSCM also uses business partner. FSCM also use business partner. So today, the credit management configuration, whatever we configure, that we configure at the BP level, but not at the customer level. In the ECC, we used to configure the credit management at the customer level, and we access that through FD32. But today there is no FD32 because we are not maintaining credit management at the customer level, but in fact at the BP level because FSCM uses BP. The application component for FSCM is UKM. UKM is the application component. So UKM underscore BP, UKM underscore my DCDS, UKM underscore elements. These all are various transactions. So there is no FD32, and that is replaced with the transaction UKM BP. And there is no transaction even that is VKM1, but only as a workaround. Today we can see VKM1. Maybe this will also get deprecated in the later coming versions, and we'll be using only transaction called as UKM underscore my DCDS. This only the transaction. So VKM1, VKM4 are available only as a workaround. Maybe later they will also get deprecated, or else VKM1 we can already there is a substitute transaction called as UKM underscore my underscore DCDS. And there is also something called as case management. With case management, we could replace this transaction. VKM3 is also not available. So there are various transactions and standard reports got absolute because of this change. You could see this many transactions has got absolute. This all transaction VKM2, M3, M5. So majority of the transactions and standard reports what we use in the ECC, this all has got absolute now in S4 HANA. And what's the influence on the business because of this change? That is, some configurations are also has been changed. The very important is there is no simple credit check. ABC no longer available. That is simple credit check. Only D is available. D means automatic credit check, right? We know it in the configuration we maintain. There is no ABC. Only automatic credit check works. And if you go to OVA8, automatic credit check, there are a couple of functionalities. You remember static, dynamic, and critical fields. There's no critical fields. There is no letter of credit. There's no maximum document value, right? So certain functionalities are also absolute when it comes to the configurations. But this maximum document value, even though we say it is not supported or available, but it could be maintained at the FSCM level. It can be maintained at the FSCM level. So there are some notes to be applicable, but today anyway, latest versions are delivered with these notes already applicable. We don't need to specifically apply these notes. There are a couple of baddies which need to be activated. There are customer baddies as well, because earlier ECC is a separate system and FSCM is a separate system. You need some integration, maybe you're connecting through RFCs or something. But today, your ECC system and FSCM system are sitting on the same system and same database, right? They're sharing the same database. How do you connect your ECC to FSCM? How do you pass on what transactions to be updated into the credit management? How do you connect them? That is through baddies. So there are a couple of baddies which need to be activated so that you can establish a relation between SD module and FSCM module so that you could also control. So you could see here connection of SD documents to SAP credit. See, wherever you see in S4 HANA, it will be written as SAP credit management. It will not just written as only credit management. In the ECC, we never call it as SAP credit management. We just call it as credit management. But now, wherever you see, even documentation or in the system, anywhere you see, it will be written as SAP Credit Management. What do you mean by SAP Credit Management? SAP Credit Management is nothing but FSCM Credit Management. Whatever the credit management component available in the FSCM, that is called as specifically SAP Credit Management. So that's the reason wherever you see the terminology, you will see it like this. You see connection of SD to credit management. And what connection we are trying to do here? Like you could say sending a documented credit decision. So this all baddies we need to activate so that we can establish a connection between SD and FSCM. So total configuration step, there are total 11 configuration steps. So these are the total 11 configuration steps which has to be performed. And what are the configuration steps we are seeing here? This is only FSCM SD integration. It's not a full-blown functionality. So this is not a full-blown functionality, like not a license. We cannot integrate it with the external systems. This configuration is just like what we have in the ECC, but under the FSCM module. For that, we need to set up these 11 configuration steps, right? So this is how why SAP has come up with a new credit management. So let's see the configuration, how we work. Execution, like creating an order and blocking, for that there is a video, I'll share it later into the drive. But today we'll discuss each and every field and functionality comparing BP to the backend SPRO. So let's go ahead. Let me get into the system, one moment. So let's get into the server and see the configuration. Okay, so where do we see this configuration for credit management? Well, first let's go to the BP level. Okay, let's go to the BP level. And yesterday we have created a BP, right? Let me check the BP. I'll search by business partner number 31. This is what the BP yesterday we created. And yeah, so now we are in the BP. Yesterday, as we discussed, right, if it is BP, any role, it has to be extended by the BP role. So if you take credit management also has a BP role, and the BP role for credit management is UKM underscore 000, UKM underscore 000, which will get us the role for credit management. This will help us to extend the business partner to credit management. Okay, so when I extend this, you see system added credit segment here and system added two new tabs, credit profile and credit worthiness data to general data of credit management. Okay. Before that, let us first see application activation. Application activation transactions BUS6 or BUS1. Let me check. Yeah, application activation, that is BU S1 transaction, and as I mentioned, a component for this is UKM. And when you go to the UKM, you see FSCM credit management. We'll select this and go to the details, active. It's already active, application component, but yeah. So here where this should be getting activated. So there is network issue. Yes, network disconnected from. So application activation and screen secrets, anything you want to control, that is you can control with the BUS6 transaction. So let's get to the BP. As we just mentioned, the BP role for credit management is UKM underscore triple zero. So we have created a custom a business partner, extended that to the customer, and company code data, sales area data. And now we have to extend this to credit management. And how do we extend that to the credit management? With a role called as UKM triple zero. That will add two more tabs here, and that will add credit segment here. Because in the ECC, the highest org unit for credit management is credit control area. But today in S4 HANA, the highest org unit for credit management is credit segment because FSCM uses credit segment. As we are working credit management under FSCM under the BP, so now the highest org unit here is credit segment. So let us extend this BP with UKM triple zero. Don't confuse between UDM and UKM. UDM is collection. That's a different one actually. Okay. So as I already told you yesterday, so when you're checking the role, you need to check the role category. So for some systems, that means like when the other module people would be doing configurations, they might have changed this UKM triple zero role category to UDM triple zero for their testing purposes. So just check UKM triple zero, and this will be adding up to new tabs here and credit segment data. And if I go to the credit profile, the first tab, again, whatever you see here, it doesn't mean it should apply for SD module because whatever the credit management we are using under the FSCM. So SD has a limited functionality here, right? The first comes with the rules. These are formulas. There are rules. There should be standard, a couple of other formulas actually, B2B, various formulas will be there. We don't write formulas anyway. Formulas is only for licensed version and that is for FSCM consultants, not for the SD. But there will be one standard formula called as the MIG. If you're in a migration project, you'll be selecting that MIG formula. Okay, that's a standard formula. Okay, MIG is a standard formula. But from where this formula is coming, or where is this risk class is maintained as score or check rule, credit group. So from where this all data is being updated into the business partner, that is in the configuration SPRO. So every field, let us compare it from the backend where it is being maintained. SPRO. So the configuration is under the financial supply chain management. Let's say if you go to the sales and distribution, and if you check the node of sales and distribution, what do it says? Basic functions, yeah. Credit management, yeah. What do this say? It says that you should be already aware. You see, there is no node to expand credit management. There is no node, and there is only a documentation. And if I go to the documentation, system says that if you want to use credit management, you must be aware that it works only with the FSCM. You see, it works only with the credit management of FSCM. That's it. It just gives a notes here saying that you should be already aware. Okay. So now let's see the configuration. Now the configuration for credit management is under the FSCM, Financial Supply Chain Management. Under this, as I mentioned, it addresses various areas, maybe a couple of 6 areas, something like that. Out of that, credit management is also one area what FSCM addresses. And when you go to the credit management, here we have two options. One is credit risk monitoring. This is the full-blown functionality, licensed version of credit management. And this is the integration with AR and SD. So when you expand this integration, then again we have an option here, integration with AR and sales and distribution. So our area of interest is integration with sales and distribution. And this is what the 11 steps or baddies, whatever I have shown earlier. This is where we do the configuration setup, right? But there are some configurations which we need to take it from the FSCM. So let us go to credit risk monitoring. Formula, right? Where is that formula? It's under the master data. Define formulas. Rule, right? What we say? Rules. Okay, rules. Rules is under here. Yeah. Create rule for scoring. And when you go here, you see the two rules. SAP underscore all and standard. These are the two rules. What we are seeing here, you could see here, SAP underscore all and standard. These are the two rules. There will be a couple of more actually. In this system, we are seeing only two. If not, they will be seeing lots of other rules actually. As a SD consultant, do we write any new rule or logic here? Nothing. We don't do that because these are only by FSCM. As an SD, we only need to know how to use that rule. Okay. Which rule to use and how to use the rule. That's it. That is enough for us. We don't need FSCM for that. So one very important interview question they ask in the interview, that is, what is most important in the automatic credit check? Anyone? In the automatic credit check, what is the most important functionality? Horizon.
Formula?
Horizon. Right? Horizon period is very important functionality for automatic credit check, and that is what it differentiates, right? So in the interviews, that is very frequent question now in the interviews when it comes to the credit management. That is, do we still have Horizon in S4 HANA? Do we still have Horizon? Yes, Horizon is still available. So somewhere, yeah, that would be in the next screen. We'll see that. We'll see that. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so this is a rule. First, we need to select the rule. When you select the rule, automatically the score and rest everything will get calculated. The score, okay. Risk class. Okay, where is this risk class created? You could see here. This is risk class. Remember, we used to have risk class in the ECC as well, created by or maintained by FI. That risk class is different. That is today created by SD. This is FSCM risk class to calculate the score. To calculate the score, this is the FSCM risk class. So where is this risk class, and how do system know if it is very high default risk? What is the score? Maybe 20, or this is 40, this is 60, this is 80, this is 100, like this. So where do that score maintained? If you select the risk class, the score also will get automatically updated. So where this risk class and the score is being updated from, that is, you see here, risk class, and when you go to the risk class, here where you could see very high default risk, score from 10 to 20, 21 to 50. So here where system it maintains, that is what is the risk class and what is the score for it. So we could maintain it here. So as we select some score, later on save it, the score will be automatically updated here. And valid to also we can maintain. Then check rule. Check rule. You see dynamic. So because Horizon is available only for dynamic, right? Not for static. So if I select dynamic, system will update Horizon as well. But where is that Horizon? So do we have Horizon? Yes. So where is that horizon? Let me close this master data here and go to credit limit check. Under the credit limit check, we have defined checking rules. That is what we are seeing here, right? Check rules, right? Let's go to checking rules. Yeah, you see the three options: static, dynamic, and static credit limit, the 01, 02, 03 options. The same thing you see here in the front end. You see the same rules. But when you select dynamic, there should be a horizon updated. So do we have horizon? Yes. Select this and click on checks. And you could see here credit horizon in days is 90. So even in the ECC, this is a very important interview question. If they want to ask a question from the credit management, this used to be the first question. So the same way in S4 HANA also, if it comes to credit management, is a very important question. That is, so do we have horizon in S4 HANA? Yes, we have horizon. Okay. So the next is credit group. See this credit group, what you're seeing here, and in the SD also we have credit group. You remember for what purpose we use credit group in SD? Anyone? For what purpose we use it?
So different, like how do
Block
we,
the order.
no, it's like the sales order and the delivery.
Where to block the transaction, order level or delivery level or goods issue level, right?
You have to group that according to the customers, which group that
Where to block the
customer
transaction.
belongs to.
But no. Credit group in SD is where to block the transaction. It is not grouping the customers. Whether you want to block the transaction, that if the customer's credit is not available, then you want to block it at order level or at delivery level or goods issue level, where you want to block the transaction. That is controlled by uh, that is controlled by credit group. That is in the ECC. But here the credit group has a different meaning. This credit group is you have to categorize your customers for reporting purpose. Okay, this is only for reporting purpose. You want to categorize your customers as corporates or subsidiaries, anything it could be. This credit group is different. In the SD, whatever the credit group is different. So where this credit group is maintained, the FSCM, this is only for FSCM. Where this is maintained, this credit group is maintained again in the master data. Yes. Yeah, here, customer credit group. And when you go to this particular customer credit group, here you see corporate, small, medium subsidiaries. So we are aligning each and every field or functionality we see here in the BP, that is front end, with where it is available in the back end and what is this and how it is maintained. Right? So this is the group two. Then next here is so here you see external credit information. Okay, external credit information. So this is what the unique for FSCM. As we discussed, we can get the data from external agencies. What is the racing procedure? That means from which agency you are taking this particular. There are various agencies. Okay, it could be any agency. You could see COFACE, Credit Plus, Credit Safe. These all are different agencies which provide this data. Okay, LSPA. These all are agencies like CIBIL or Equifax. They provide this credit rating procedure or credit rating data. So what rating they have given for this BP, only particularly, right? Because it's the master data and it's maintained at the master data level. So what is the rating? Rating has been not made. Trend going on for this customer, positive, negative, and this report is valid from the valid date. And you could import this in XML format. Okay, we could set up this particular we could import it in the XML format, and that would be live updated into the system.
So I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So this rating that you're talking about, does this rating automatically get populated, as in is it automatically rated
Yes.
by this Sibyl and entered here?
Yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. You could import that data here through XML. That's what I'm checking. Actually, there should be a button here called as import. And once you give the XML feed here, then system will automatically update that data into the system. You don't need to do manually. Once you set up it, then system will automatically update that data every time it gets updated. For that, there will be a button called as import. I'm just checking because this is a different UI, right? In the old version, it is directly text written as a button called as import. Maybe here it is through some icon or something, and that's why I'm checking which icon is that. Maybe date history somewhere. In the older version, there used to be a button just like not an icon, but a button called as import. When you click that, it will ask you to give the XML feed and you give the link which is provided by that particular agencies, and that will get automatically updated into this particular. So if the trend change to the customer, the trend will automatically change. Okay. So where is this data being maintained? Which rating procedure you are going for, and this all data where it maintained in the backend? The ratings are maintained here. Maybe no, this one. You see here the rating procedures. And when you go to rating procedures, we could see all the rating procedures. Let's say credit safe, right? So you select this and you check. You can maintain here what is the rank and everything what you can have. This will be done by FSCM anyway. If it is only SD, there is no purpose for the business to go with this. This is the external integration for SD, sorry, FSCM with other agencies to get this data, right? So this is what we have in the, you see credit score is being calculated and it says it's calculated on what date. So this is credit profile. Then next you go for credit worthiness data. This credit worthiness data is more of FSCM, nothing to do for SD. You could see here what any affidavits filed by the customer, any bankruptcy procedures, any foreclosure, any legal action on the customer, what is the status of the legal action, or so this all is more of FSCM, nothing to do for the SD module. Now let's go to the credit segment data. As we discussed, the highest org unit in credit management today under FSCM is credit segment. So first we need to select the credit segment. Okay. First we need to select credit segment. And coming to the credit segment also, we have two. One is main credit segment and one is sub credit segment. Main credit segment is an FSCM. The sub credit segment is an SD module. If you wish to have the the SD itself, the main credit segment, you could also make that. Okay. You can tell system when you create a credit segment itself, we can tell system whether you want this particular credit segment to be a main credit segment or not. And where is this credit segment is created? This is created under the FSCM. See, yeah, this is credit risk monitoring, right? This is FSCM actually, and you see credit segment. And when you go to this credit segment, what are the credit segments we have seen there? And here you can tell system whether you want to mark this as a higher credit segment or not. And you see this functionality was not there in the previous version. Okay, overdue grid-in days or case type, what you see in the previous version, it is only up to main credit segment. Whatever you are seeing this particular functionality, it is not available in the previous system versions. Okay. Anyway, credit management is not much of updating in the versions because it is not any new functionality what SAP has come up with. It is already there in the FSCM and they are just allowing us to use it. So it's not an evolving function. Even though if it is evolving, it is only for FSCM but not for SD. So this is where we create a credit segment. At the same time, we can also create segment on the integration as well. Okay, let us close this now. Credit risk monitoring. And if I go to SD, integration with sales and distribution, And even here, we create the first thing called as define credit segment. And you go here. So you see, this is where we can create. This is the sub-credit segment. You see, no functionality, no currency, nothing. At least the main credit segment has a currency option, right? So this is a sub-credit segment. And yeah, when it comes to the credit segment, as I mentioned, first is we need to select the credit segment. Then you see rules. This rule, whatever you are seeing here, this is the same rule what we have seen in the credit worthiness, the credit profile. And whatever the rule you have in the credit segment, you see it is grayed out. You cannot change it. You cannot switch to a next rule or something because whatever if you want to change the rule, first you need to change it in the general data. Here you have an option. You change the rule here, it automatically gets updated into the credit segment data. But you cannot change the rule in the credit segment data. Whatever is there in the credit profile in the general data, that automatically gets updated into the credit segment. You see it has been changed here and again grayed out. Then limit, whether you have defined a limit for this customer or not. This is ad hoc limit. You could just mention and you can request for the limit. But again, that goes for the approval. It's taking a little time. It will take your just upload. So we can request a limit here, and again, as I mentioned, it will go for approval. Then here itself it will go for approval. So because of the role authorization, they can either approve or deny that particular request. Okay, so let's say if I request for something $100, you see system immediately goes for requested for $100, whether you want to release the limit or you can reject. So this goes for the approval. Then credit utilizations and everything gets updated later. Horizon, you see, credit horizon, 90 days. It's coming from the configuration what we have seen earlier. So this all data gets updated here into the credit limit. Sorry, into this screen, which is credit limit and control. Then payment behavior at key figures. Because today we don't have FD32, right? Then how do we know what is the review date of the customer, what is the dunning, or what is the customer payment exposures? So exposures anyway you could check here, but dunning and this all things, how do we know that? Here, you see, here it gets updated. So dunning level of the customer and payments of the customer. So it updates into the screen. So there is no FD32 today. So if you want to maintain master data for credit management, that used to be only here, right? So this is what we have credit management in the front end, the functionalities, fields, and everything. So let us see the configuration steps, step by step, how this credit management is being configured. So the first thing is we could see, we have seen the application activation, right? The credit management is already active. If you wish to deactivate, you could go here and remove that checkbox or activate the checkbox so that you can deactivate it. At the application level, credit management is active, but here you can control whether you want that to be active or deactivated. Or these are different badges for activation of SAP Credit Manager. You see, specifically it will be written as SAP Credit Management. Even you here you see it written as SAP Credit Management. What is this activate or deactivate or SAP? This is nothing but FSCM Credit Management. That means you are establishing the integration between SD to FSCM. If not, never we have seen in the ECC like writing as SAP Credit Management. Obviously, we are in SAP. Then why should we write again SAP Credit Management, right? But why it is specifically mentioned here? Because SAP Credit Management is nothing but FSCM Credit Management that is out of the ECC system. So the first thing is we need to define a credit control area. The same functionality when you go for the credit control area, we have that update group and other functionalities. So we have the update group, we have the variant, fiscal year variant, Risk category, what is the credit limit we give for the new customers? Same functionality. And whether you want this credit control area applicable to all company codes. Like we have centralized and decentralized credit process, right? If it is centralized credit process, one credit control area take care of all the company codes. If it is a decentralized process, then every company code has its own credit uh, control area. So these are standard. Update groups are also same 12, 15, 18. Same 12, 15, 18 update groups, right? And the next credit segment, as I already showed you. Now we assign credit control area to credit segment. Okay. And here itself we tell system whether this functionality has to be applicable for all the company codes, whether it has to be applicable for all the company codes. Here we assign our credit segment to credit control area. And here we can check control whether you want it to be centralized or decentralized, whether you want this configuration to be applicable for all the company codes. Same 12, 15, 18. Because usually we don't create credit control area here, right? We create it under the enterprise structure. This was asked as one question in the interview. Assign sales area to credit control area. Do we have this configuration in the ECC? Anyone? Do we assign sales area to credit control area in the ECC?
Usually we assign this to company code, right? Credit control area.
No, I could not see your name actually. It says
We don't
G
do
or
that.
something. Is it Harish?
My
Harsha?
name is Harsha. Harsha. Yeah,
Harsha.
Harsha.
Okay. Please put your name, Harsha. It will be easy for me to identify. Yeah. So do
I'll
we
do
have
that
this
next.
configuration sales area to credit control area? This was asked in one interview.
Uh, no, usually we don't see. We have to activate credit control area in the customer master, and we do this credit control check in the company code level. Assign company code control to the assign the company code to the sales credit control area. We don't assign sales area specifically. I'm not too
Right?
sure. No, it's not there. Yeah, it's not there.
Yeah, that's what the reason they
Here
ask
we
a
go.
question. Okay. That's the reason they ask the question. We know that we assign credit control area to company code. That is standard functionality. Right?
Yeah.
So why would they ask this question? They'll ask tricky question. That is, do we assign sales area to credit control area? Yes, we have this configuration. Okay. And the
And
enterprise
also, do we
structure.
assign company code to? I mean,
Yeah, go
I'm just
ahead.
asking. Do we assign company code also? Company code to sales area to the credit
Already it is
control area
assigned,
in.
right? Already it is assigned here. You see, credit control
Okay,
area,
okay.
all company codes, right? It is still assigned. That configuration is anyway valid, but whether this configuration is existing in the ECC or not, that was the question asked,
No, it's not there.
right?
It
It
was.
is there.
It's not there.
Yep, it is there.
There.
There, yes.
in ECC,
We have that, right? In the ECC also we do that. We assign sales areas to
sales there we
credit
assign
control
sales
area.
docs and delivery docs.
In the ECSC also we have this assignment of sales organization to credit control area. Somewhere, what is this? Infrastructure, right? And,
In the,
Praveen,
yeah, go ahead.
this item category, no? If you go to item category, there
Yeah,
we have to make it as credit active, no? So when it remains the same in S4 HANA, right?
same.
Same configuration.
There is the same step we'll discuss now. We'll see that. These all are still active, but this configuration also is available actually. Sales area to credit control area. We do that in the ECC as well. Where exactly we do it?
in ECC we do delivery. In ECC we do sales docs and delivery doc assignment. OEAK.
No. The config here the question is different. Here the question is different. That is, do we have this configuration in ACC? What is the configuration we are discussing? Assign sales area to credit control area. Assign sales area to credit control
We
area.
don't have any. Directly we don't have any.
We have it. Let me show you. Where do we have it? Is in the, okay, we are in S4 HANA system, right? Let me show you. We have this configuration in the ECC. That is what you see, how tricky question they ask in the interview. It's there. For sure it's there. Let me show you. Because we already done this anyway. So it is under this particular credit management, receivables and risk management. Maybe we should check in the ECC system. This is S4 HANA system, right? Let us check in the ECC,
Yes,
but
sir.
it is there. 100% this configuration is available in the ECC. So that's a tricky question they asked in the interview. Do we assign sales area to credit control area in ECC? First, let us check it the enterprise structure, then we'll go to the credit management. Yeah, you see here, assign sales area to credit control area, right? There's the same configuration we are checking here. There's the same configuration. Assign sales area to credit control area. Here you see, assign sales area to credit control area. You see this configuration? And that is there even in the ECC, assign sales area to credit control area. Right?
Could you just open?
What's that?
Could you just open that? Let me see how it looks like inside.
Okay, it's the same. Whatever we have seen in the S4 HANA, it's the same configuration. That's the same, right? So this configuration is existing even in the ECC. And mark my word, when it comes to the interviews, nothing goes out of our scope. Whatever we discuss, whatever I mention as a question, that will be our questions in the interviews. Okay. Yeah. So assign sales area to credit control area. So obviously, you know what we do here. And as I just told you the question as well, do we have this configuration in ECC? Yes. Then exposure categories, we don't need this configuration. We don't need this. Okay. The next is enter settings. So as we know in the ECC, there are various areas where we set up that particular, let's say for credit, there is different output. That means if order is blocked, then we don't need to, like if the order is blocked by credit, we don't need our order confirmation. So at the output, we don't need to issue the output, or else we use subtotal as A in the pricing procedure. So there are various configurations what we do, business partner B, right? So at other places, right? So now everything is at this place. Even this configuration is there in the ECC. There is nothing new actually. This. Do you know anyone? Enter settings. Do we have in the ECC?
No, we do not have this.
We have
Just
this.
looking. We have this.
We have it. Yes, we have this in the ECC. Sales and distribution under basic functions, under credit management, receivables, risk management. Sorry, not receivable risk management. Under credit management and risk management, enter settings. You see this? Enter settings, procedure, partners, output, credit release. This is ECC system. So this enter settings configuration, whatever we see now in S4 HANA, we do have this in the ECC. Determine active receivables per item category. Do we have this configuration in ECC?
Yes, we have this.
Yes, right? The same below to the enter settings. Even in the S4 HANA, sorry, even in the ECC, the same determine active receivables per item, maintain authorizations. You see these three functionalities. These are not new. It's there even in the ECC. That's the same what we are seeing here. Okay, so enter settings, we know determine active receivables per item. As you know, credit management is maintained at the header level, but we can control at the item level, which item you want to include into the credit management and not. That we could control at the item category level. Select the item category and credit active. Someone was asking. I hope Harsha, you are asking this question, right? It's there.
Yeah, this, yeah.
We have this
This we need to
checkbox.
put in the VO7 directly, right? Come
That
in
with there
this.
we can maintain, but it's also under the credit management configuration. Then maintain authorizations. So what is this authorizations is if you want to restrict or authorize basing on the credit value up to $5,000, user one will be having authorization to release. 5,000 to $10,000, user two will have authorization. For this, you need to work with the security consultants to provide the authorizations. But first, what we need to do here is we need to create a document value class. It's just a, without any functionality, it's just a document. Let's say if I create a document value class as AA1 something. First, we need to create a document value class. Then we need to assign this document value class to our credit control area. Assign document value class. And here we need to assign that to our credit control area. And how much credit value? Let's say $5,000. And currency, let's say USD. And what's the document value class? We have created AA1. Okay, now let me check what credit control area is available. It's 1,000 is available, right? So we have set up something like this, saying that first we need to create a document value class. Then second step, we need to assign the document value class to the credit control area with what credit value the user will get authorization. And once we save this, for this, we assign authorizations, the PFCG roles. For this, as I mentioned, you need to work with the security consultant. So now maintain authorizations. When I click this, this will take me to the PFCG transaction. You can see the PFCG transaction where we give role authorizations. Right? So this will help us to create a hierarchy for the document value and provide authorization for the users releasing that document.
So Praveen, this would be a specific representative which will have the authority to release the credit check, is it, for a set of
Yes,
customers for a
yes,
sales area? Okay.
yes, up to certain value. So you could give authorization. Then different credit
It's based on
groups. Yeah, what's
credit
that?
groups. So is it belong to one specific? See, we have a customer representative A, which will authorize the credit checks for one specific sales area. Say, like person, say for example, Ravi is only responsible for the sales area. Is it like that? This check,
No,
this
it's not by
settings.
sales area, it is by value. So level one, okay, let's say your hierarchy is level 3 to 1. Level 3 will have authorization to release only up to $5,000, not more than that.
Oh, okay,
Level
I got it.
2
Thank
is
you.
from 5 to 25, like this. Credit groups. Earlier, you remember I told you what are the credit groups? What we have seen in the FSCM is like corporate, small, medium customers, subsidiaries.
Yeah.
That is for the FSCM uh, for reporting purpose. Nothing much functionality. But this credit group is SD credit group, where we tell system where you want to block the transaction if the customer's credit exceeds. Whether you want to block at the order level or delivery level or goods issue level. This credit group is different. FSCM credit group is different. Then
Okay.
assign sales document and delivery documents. But we should tell system, right? Where exactly and which are, whether you want to go for a simple credit check or automatic credit check. So set up credit limit check for sales document. Select your document type. And here we put a D. D means automatic credit check. We already seen in the document, right? ABC is not relevant today. So what is the implications for the business? We have seen here. That is ABC are no longer available. Only D is available. So that's what this particular D is. ABC are not available. Okay, what happens if I maintain ABC? Let's say, let me put this. You'll see a message. What message you'll see? System says that SAP Credit Management is active. You see, SAP. What is SAP Credit Management? FSCM, right? So system tells SAP Credit Management is active and ABC are not supported. In the ECC, it will support, right? But here, system will not support and system will throw an error saying that SAP Credit Management is active. That is nothing but your FSC and credit management. So you cannot go with ABC. It is absolute functionality. It is only D, that is automatic credit check. And when you are going with automatic credit check, for sure you need to tell or maintain credit group. If I don't maintain, even then system throws an error saying that for automatic credit check, we have to enter the credit group, because how does system know where to block the transaction, order or delivery or goods issue? Only by credit group. So we need to mention credit group here. By default, anyway, you have that in a standard. But if you create a different value, then you need to update it here. So the same way we also do it in the delivery as well. Select your delivery types and tell system whether you want to block it at the delivery level 0 2 or goods issue, that is nothing but goods issue 03 0 2 0. Then automatic credit check. The T code is same OVA8 and the parameters also same, that is credit control area, risk category and credit group. Where do we have this risk category? That is next step actually. You see, risk category. This risk category in the ECC, this used to be created by FI consultants. Okay, these are created and maintained by FI consultants, but today there is no integration with FI, so SD itself is creating or maintaining this. So first let's go to the, first let's see this then. Risk categories, whether it is a high default risk, very high default risk or low risk, just a value that doesn't have any functionality, but risk category is assigned to credit control area here. Risk category is assigned to credit control area, and automatic credit check works with combination of credit control area, risk category and credit group. With this combination, we maintain automatic credit check, and you'll be shocked seeing the screen, no functionalities. You remember there used to be tons of functionality here: static, dynamic, maximum document value, critical fields, right? Next review date and user exits, dunning. There is lots of functionality here. Nothing is available. Anything it says SAP credit management active, and what reaction you want to throw if a document is exceeding the credit limit, whether a warning or an error, and a credit block and status block. That's it. But these all configurations are whatever functionalities we have here, the critical fields, maximum document value, open item, oldest open item, next review date, dunning, user one, user two, user three, everything is deprecated here, right? So this is what we made. But the combination, if when you're practicing, make sure you have this combination correct, then only you can see the final result. Okay, don't go with a random combination of credit control area, risk category, or credit group. Go with your own combination so that you could see the result. System will block the transaction when you create the sales order. Okay. So this is what happened with the credit management in S4 HANA, and this is for today. Okay. So the execution part, I'll upload a video because in 2021 server everything is messed up. We don't have complete best practice. So how it's blocking and what message system is doing everything, please watch that video. I'll upload. So this is what for today, and this is credit management. Any questions, please go ahead.
I'm a little confused about main credit segment and sub credit segment. What is the actual difference?
So main credit segment, you can say it as a group company. Let's say you take Tata. Rather than giving, Tata has 100 businesses. Rather than giving credit for each business, you can give credit at the group level. Let's say the group will have $1,000 credit, and if under the group you have 4 businesses or 5 businesses, each business get 200, 200, 200, 200. But rather than giving it the credit at the every group, every individual company under the group, just maintain a credit limit at the group level. So you can leave that as the main credit segment.
So then we don't have to enter anything in sub credit segment when we are doing this.
We need to create, but that is a dummy value.
Okay.
We need to create that, but dummy value.
Okay. Thank you.
So whoever is attending SD sessions, who are freshers, you don't need to worry or you don't need to understand anything today. If you can understand the terminology and the menu parts, what I have shown, that is enough. As I already told you, these sessions are only for you to, I want you introduce you to the discussions. The others who is already an SD consultant, what the questions they are asking. So first time to now we are you when you attend, this is only to introduce you to the discussions and screens and fields and terminologies. If you don't understand something now, don't worry. Again, in the next month, next batch when you attend, then it will be everything clear for you. These all guys also done the same thing at the time of the first process. There's the same process. They attended the parallelly and there's the same thing. So don't worry if you don't understand something now, you can watch the video. Yeah.
I was
Any question? Go ahead, any question?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, Shidhu
I
here.
was about to ask you this.
Go ahead, Siddhi.
Yeah, so what is the our role here when it comes to implementation of S4 HANA here?
Implementation or migration?
Uh, yeah, either implementation or migration. So what is the SD consultant role here?
If it is implementation, you need to go through all these steps. Whatever so far we have discussed, the configurations, every step
Okay.
you have to do the configuration one by one, everything. If it is
So as a
implementation,
SD consultant, as a SD
definitely yes.
consultant, I have to do.
You need to
Okay,
go to
so
this integration with sales and distribution, and you need to set up and you need to activate baddies and everything. Okay.
okay.
If it is migration, you don't need to do this. If it is migration, as we have already seen the document earlier, there is a cockpit. I'll just show you. Anyway, we'll discuss this again when it comes to the migration project, but I'll just show you. We have a cockpit
Sure.
here, conversion of accounting test. This is the migration cockpit. Under this, you see credit management migration, preparatory activities, credit management migration. And when you go this and when you go to the second activity, migrate credit management, what happens here? You see here. In this activity,
Okay.
you migrate your FIAR component, that is nothing but our ECC credit management, to the new configuration, which is called as SAP credit management. What is SAP credit management? FSCM, right?
Fetching, yes. Yeah.
FSCM. And what happens once you, okay, it is converted. Then what happens next onwards? From now, a credit control areas to credit segments. For every credit control area, a new credit segment will be assigned. Automatically, it will be done. You don't need to do that if it is in migration. And necessary customizing entries and for the documented credit decisions are made. The system itself will do all these things. Configuration settings for OBA8, what we have seen. So if you are in FSCM migration, we need to do only in the cockpit. You don't need to set up all the configurations what we have discussed. That is for new implementation. Okay.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
And this is only migrating configuration, right? This will only migrate configuration, but we have various datas. FD32 has to be converted. Our credit decision data has to become, credit exposure data has to become. That is in the data migration. So when it comes to the migration project, we'll discuss details step by step. But if it is
Sure.
implementation, you need to do all these 11-step configurations.
Okay, only SD consultant will do, or any FI
Yes.
consultant will do some part of
No, there is
configuration
no
here.
any role of FI integration here, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We are completely demarked out with the FI consultants. There is no role for FI consultants here. That is the reason even this risk category is provided for SD consultant. If not, this risk category is maintained by FI consultants
Yes.
usually. The
Yes.
configuration
Yeah.
itself has been provisioned here.
Thank you, sir.
So any other questions, anyone?
Can you share me the HANA drive, G drive,
Yeah, sure, Mandar, sure.
and the ECC guy, the server guy, contact details as
Yeah, I'll text. I have not sent it to anyone, I guess. I'll send it. The server
well?
access also I'll send. I'm
And
just waiting for a stable server for S4 HANA. because in this server we don't have the best practice, and without best practice, it's very hard for you to practice. So just waiting for to get a good server, I'll share it. And yeah, I'll send
Okay.
it. Actually, I was out of station now, so
Yeah, sure.
I'm not able to do that. But I'm sure end of the day or tomorrow you'll receive them.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions, anyone?
Praveen, there is only dynamic check, like only automatic
Only dynamic.
credit control area. There's
Only
no
automatic. No
automatic,
simple.
dynamic only. There's no static, right? In this
No automatic, dynamic. Static is also there. But obviously, you know, right?
one.
We
Without the
don't go
time
for
monitoring.
static. We go only with the
Okay.
dynamic because we need horizon period.
Time monitoring. Okay.
But both are
So
available.
okay, fine.
Yeah, one more question. In real time, sir, when we actually work on implementation, can we prepare our notes and can we refer to it, or are we expected to have these configurations at the tip of our tongue and know everything like sort of by heart?
Never they expect that. How would anyone memorize this many, right? For a consultant, why would you do every time end to end? For me, I have to do it because I do training. I need to end to end. Out of the experience, I
Okay.
know certain things. No one expects
Okay.
anything at the tip of the tongue. You'll have time.
Okay.
You'll have time to do everything, but at least you should know where it is available.
Yeah.
Right?
So Praveen, at times in interview they've asked me I'm just saying, what are all the things you need to configure for credit management? Okay, so we can start off saying that there's a business role called UKM 000. You have to make a credit control active there. Then you have to
Yes.
talk about assignment of this credit control area to the company
Great
code and
segment.
the sales area,
Great segment.
and you also have to talk about the credit groupings to the sales doc and the delivery document.
You don't need to tell this
And
all
even
things.
the
First, you say
the
UKM
software
triple
close accounts
zero
in the picture.
and
Uh-huh.
application area T code, that is BUS1. The two itself is enough. They can judge what level of credit knowledge you have.
Okay.
Okay. If that two steps you know rest of everything what to do in the system.
Okay.
Mhm. We have a skill set for that specifically. You could write it in the resume as well. Right. So we'll call it a day today. Catch up on next weekend, and the next weekend our agenda is discuss about migration project on Saturday, and on Sunday we'll put it light. Maybe miscellaneous changes. There is something which is not documented in the simplification list. That miscellaneous changes we'll take it up. Okay. So we'll call it a day today, and one just a minute. I hope there are majority of the people from the SD batch recent, right? And Sonal is also. Sonal, can you give any inputs for others' preparation? Because Sonal
So
got disconnected late.
yeah, I will just say that, sir, your mentoring and teaching has definitely helped me a lot, and it has helped me to get through also a good company. And uh, as in, I have no words just to explain how much the level of knowledge that has gone up after taking these classes. Like initially when I had started, I would rate myself as probably 40%, and now when I see myself, I feel that or I was able to crack most of the interviews and with confidence, and I actually have got the feedback that your knowledge is many folds. So that
Yeah,
is the sort of
exceptional.
confidence that has gone up.
Any inputs for others? So because there are majority from the SD, the new batch, hardly we're done with 1 week sessions. Any inputs you could provide, right, for the preparation or where to focus, or how's the market? Because you got placed very recently, so you have this information, I guess. What industry is expecting? Or else probably could do one thing. If you have time, you can just send me an email so I can share with others so that it will help for them. Okay, some WhatsApp message or it's by email.
So I can tell you something for the team.
Yeah, go ahead.
See, it's
Go
like
ahead.
they start off with the basics. Okay, any interview as a fresher within 3 years, they start off with the very basic, like from the assignment level. Okay, from there they take it a little deep when it goes to sales documents and at the item level, item category level. So when they ask you to talk about the complete sales cycles and what do you do in each and every, say for example, you reach the sales order, how do you talk about the
Mhm.
outputs? Each and everything has been tested and they see where you stand. Okay, so it is from the you have to be very strong with your basics. Okay, once you get there on the
Yeah.
sales cycle, they'll be questioning about availability check, about shipping point determination, plan determination, and things like that. So you must keep an eye on everything, what's happening in every stage of.
Maybe the last 5 sessions I have mentioned, right? Anyone you remember? You should be thorough with the basics and don't consider first 5 sessions as basics or you cannot take it for granted. Maybe I did I mention in this new batch? In every batch I tell actually, first sessions are not basics actually. You'll face many questions from the first 5 sessions or first 1 week
Yes,
sessions. I
you
mentioned,
told that
right?
point.
Yeah. Anyway, we are on right track. We will be getting into the industry by September. Be confident, everyone. So let's call it a day today and catch up on next weekend. Next weekend we'll discuss one is a new migration first we'll take up, and then we'll take up some miscellaneous
Uh,
changes thereafter. We'll
Praveen,
begin in Sunday. Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Praveen,
Go ahead, go ahead.
like we discussed today about
Mhm.
credit management, all these things.
Yeah.
Uh, since you know that it's been just 6 days I have joined this course,
Yes.
I
Yes.
could not catch up many things today's class, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. I know it, right? I know it that you will not understand anything. But why I made you to join? Because at least now you're participating and you can know the terminology. You know that there is something happened before than others, right? Where the others does not have any clue, and the consultants with 4 years or 4 plus years joining this and trying to learn this concept, I want you to understand the same thing beforehand. Got my point?
Yes,
I know,
yes, yes.
I know that you will not understand anything, but I want you to introduce to the discussions the way the others were asking the questions, subject questions, the menu parts, the screens. I want to just introduce to that. That is so that later this is not something new for you, and you don't need to start again from scratch. Okay, this works very well actually. So far, whoever done training with me, they'll do both. Okay, whether it is Mandar or it is Tamal or other people, they went through the same process. It would be pretty easy. If you don't understand today, don't worry. It has some meaning or some reason why we are doing this.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay then. So we'll call it a day and catch up next week and everyone. Bye bye.
Yes.